Today we have a 1991 BMW 3 Series stereo in the shop. The label is missing from it, but from notes I believe this is an Alpine CM 5906 or 5908. This has the finger slide controls. It came in for being dead. We just hooked it up and this thing turns on perfectly. And the problems we found was the backlighting on the display, which we should be having a video for soon, and an output problem, which we also took care of. Now, I wanted to go over checking this for no power, because this is a common problem in the car, which isn't always the stereo, and there are several ways to check this. First, you have to remove the stereo from the dash. And of course BMW has a special tool, which one end has a cap for a flathead screwdriver to go into these little doors on each side of the car stereo and pop them open. And once they're open, the other side of the tool, which is similar to an Allen wrench, but this is 5-sided. I have seen small flathead screwdrivers and Allen wrenches remove this stereo, but the correct tool always makes it easier and doesn't strip the bolt. But what we're trying to do here is remove the stereo from the dash, and it's secured on the side by this locking pin, which is attached to the screw here. So we're going to put our tool in, and you'll watch this siding slip back. And as it slips back, it's going to sit down. Now what we have here is we have a slight edge on the edge of the front edge of the stereo, along the bottom edge, and so on. And this fits snugly into the opening. And then these tools, when they are tightened through the screw, pull the stereo into the dash, and the dash is secured between this small little opening in front of this tool. So we're going to loosen the opposite side. This will allow the mechanism to go back and sit down, and at this point, as it sits in the dash, you can put your finger in the cassette door opening and should be able to pull this straight out of the dash. Now when you pull this out of the dash, we have several connectors here. One of them is an antenna connector that will be here in the back. This is just a push and pull release. We should have sometimes one set of connectors for this, but these are the speaker connections, the right rear, the rear left, the front right, and the front left. This was the rear right. And we have 3 more connections here down the side. Usually one connector fits these. Sometimes I've seen a double connector on the 2 larger pins and a smaller one, and a single on the smaller one. The bottom pin here is 12 volts, while the second pin up is ground. The smaller pin is the 12 volt out signal. Once the stereo turns on, it sends the trigger out to power up the power antenna. Again, the speaker leads. And then we have one more wire here that we need to take a look at, is this yellow and white with the white connector. This yellow wire is constant 12 volts at all times, while the bottom connector here in this row of connectors is the switch power through ignition. One of the main things to look at on this one, rather than just checking the connectors in the car for power, is to hook the stereo up. Hooking the stereo up and testing power puts a load on the 12 volts. And we have seen reading the connectors in the car have 12 volts, connecting the radio up and specifically testing the switch 12 volts, disappears or drops down to 4 or 5 volts, which will not allow the radio to pop up. And the reason for this is, more recently they've gone to the blade type fuse, which is a miniature, and you can see the filament in the center. They miniaturized it from the previous size. Colors do designate amperage. There is a second type blade fuse out of that you can see the filament through the top. You can also read voltages from both sides of this filament at the back of these fuses, so you don't have to pull them out. And then we had the glass barrel fuse with the filament in the center, but Mercedes and BMW did something a little bit different, where they used a ceramic piece with caps on the end and the filament along one side. We have seen these fit into the fuse panel into 2 pins that have small openings in them, so it locks in. And sometimes just rotating the fuse in these contacts cleans it up, or you can take it apart, clean the ends, and put that back together. These fuses build up a resistance which causes the radio not to power up. Hope that takes care of your no power problem to the stereo. See our website for repair this car's stereo, along with other removal guides and so on. If you have comments, please leave them. If you have questions, please email us. Thank you for watching.